right, we've started. I'm William Turpin. This is my student, Kenan Bryce, who's behind me. I don't know quite why, but there he is. Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen Faulkner. I'm a Latin teacher, so I teach high school Latin in Massachusetts at East Longmeadow High School, and I'm super excited to be back and helping this summer with the class. Welcome. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. How do we know who goes? Do we all have the same order? I guess. Are we going counterclockwise?
No,
I don't think we all have the same order.
Confusing. Emma, tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm a student of Professor Turpin. I'm a Greek student. I just took a year of introductory Latin, and I'm minoring in medieval studies. So, yeah.
Okay, Joanna.
Hi, I graduated from Princeton with a degree in classics many years ago. I've been doing Latin in projects on my own and also teaching Latin. I just taught 2 years of IB Latin. I'm also in Western Massachusetts, Jen.
Oh.
So that's kind of interesting to me that we're so close.
From Western Mass. Where are you?
In Greenfield.
Oh, cool.
And I'm actually going to be doing the Conventiculum Bostoniense this summer, so I'm very excited about that.
Very cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Bruce, it's your turn.
Hi, I'm Bruce Vennard. I teach, my home base is the history department at the University of Pittsburgh, but when I'm really good, they let me teach medieval Latin. And I'm really glad we're doing this again this summer, and especially that Jen has so kindly agreed to help guide us. And hello, everybody.
Hi.
And can somebody tell me what the conventulum? I'm actually in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Can somebody tell me what that conventulum in Boston thing is?
It's a conventiculum. It's a speaking Latin only for a week. It's like the Rusticatio Virginiana. There's several little nests that are doing this now every year.
When is it?
It's through UMass Boston.
It's through UMass Boston. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always wanted to do one of those.
I studied with Reginald Foster in Rome in my graduate school days.
Great.
So, but I haven't done that in a long time.
Jamie.
Well, I'm Jamie. I am not in Massachusetts. I'm in Texas.
Wow.
I'm a recent homeschool graduate as of a couple weeks ago. This fall, I'll be going to Baylor and studying mostly classics, but I have a freakishly broad range of chronological interests. So I'm really interested in the story of Latin, continuing from the classical into the post-classical period, which is one reason I'm interested in medieval Latin.
Mona.
I'm Mona Lagarbo. I'm at the University of Michigan, working on the Early English Books Online project, soon to be ended. But anyway, I got my PhD in medieval studies from Fordham quite a many years ago, and have participated in the last 2 summers in this great translation session. So it's great to be back and great to meet all the new people.
Great. So for I don't know. Oh, wait, Lawrence. Great, you made it. Almost. Are you all getting Chandra?
Yeah, we had her, and now she's gone.
She seems gone away. Lawrence, are you ready? Are you there?
I suppose.
Hello. Yes. Okay.
Hi.
Yes, we can hear you.
Introduce yourself, and we're about to get started, I think.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Lawrence. I teach at Dartmouth. I do mainly medieval Italian.
Wow.
But there's some Latin in there as well. So.
Cool. So before we start, I would just like to say that we have exactly one person with us for whom this is actually designed, namely Emma, who's coming out of 1 year of college Latin. So hi Ellen, did you mean to join us? This is my wife, Ellen.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi. Now I have Rob Young.
And Rob Young. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Finally got to the gauntlet of all the
I don't think so.
Yeah. Zoom this and zoom that.
I don't know that she knows you're there. She's there. I can't tell her. Ellen, do you know? Oh, she's gone away. She's
not on anymore.
okay. She's an economist, and so she would be a little. So, Rob, how have you been?
I've been pretty well. I've just been trying to get through a number of projects that graduated with my master's finally. That was one big thing, and working on another thing. So
Great.
eager to start with this.
Congratulations. Okay.
Thanks.
Well, as I was saying, Emma is the one person who's for whom the course is actually designed. But I think which is really not. I think it's great to have a range of experience, but just we want to make sure not that we don't intimidate. I warn you, Emma, these people are very good. So it's really not what I had in mind, but the goodness is also fun and good. So just everyone has to bear with each other. And I think we should take it in turns. Jen and Bruce and I will just take it in turns running these sessions and see how they go. I'm sorry, Paula, that you're not there. And I'm sorry, we still don't have Maristella. So we, as before, we may have to do some site translation, or perhaps is that people haven't prepared, but that'll be exciting. That's always exciting, right? Okay, and as I've said more than once, the preface and section 1 are way harder than the rest of the text. So if you're discouraged at the beginning, don't be, and we'll just see how it goes. So Mona, you've got the hardest part.
Okay.
Really?
We'll go ahead and read through the sentences first and then translate them.
Okay.
One moment. It appears that people are saying they need a meeting ID to view it, but that seems to be making them participants. So is there a link we can share for them to view it?
I have no idea.
506, I think. Will it be a different invite button?
Yes, I did.
What?
I did post the meeting ID, but they're saying that makes them
participants.
Are there any viewers out there who are just viewing? If you post a comment on the Google Plus page, I'll see it. So if you're out there.
I'm not this reminds me of Google Plus. A lot of puzzling moments. And somebody's got back noise. Or just birds.
Oh, yeah.
A bird.
Probably just birds.
It's those cocky aways. They always like to get into the picture.
Right.
Shades of Brendan.
That's right.
All right.
They followed him.
Well, so I will do what you can do. Mona, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll read the first sentence first and then translate that and then read the second. So, Severus, desiderio fratri carissimo, ego quidem frate unanimis, livellum quem de vita sancti Martini scripseram, sceda sua premere, et intra domesticos parietes cohibere decreveram, quia sum natura informissimus judicia humana vitavam, ne quod fore arbitra sermo incutiar legentibus displiceret, omnium quae reprehensionis dignissimus judicare, qui materiam disertis merito scriptoribus reservandam impudens occupassim. Sed petenti tibi saepius negare non potui. Quid enim esset, quod non amore tuo, vel cum detrimento me pudoris impenderem. And he says, Severus, to his most dear or most beloved brother, Desiderius, I indeed, brother like of my spirit, of my soul, my unanimous brother. I indeed declareram, I had decided to suppress Premere, the book which I had written about the life of Saint Martin, and to cohibere, to confine it within like domestic walls or private walls.
Well, what are you
Mhm.
doing with Skeda Sua?
Oh, I'm sorry, I passed right over it, like usual. I had decided to suppress on Premere the book which I had written about the life of Saint Martin, Skeda Sua, on its own paper, or like just keep it private. Because as I am by nature very timorous, Ritavam, I was avoiding human judgments, nay, lest, which I think may be kind of understood, a thing, quod fore arbitrare, a thing which I think might happen or which I think will be, the rather unrefined style or language, the sermo and cultior, would displease, displiceret, those reading it, understood. And I would be judged, judicarer, most worthy of the reprehension of all, or the blame of all. Qui, because I, the impudent one, impudens, occupasem, had taken up or had assumed materium, which by merit ought to be reserved, reservandum, for eloquent writers, certis scriptoribus. But said, I was not able to refuse you. You, meaning his brother, asking Scipius rather frequently or rather often.
Good.
For quid enim esset? For what would there be? Quid enim esset? Quod non amori tuo vel condetunt, so that I would not give for your love, or that I would not give, understood, or do maybe, to the detriment of my modesty. Like, in other words, I would do it. I would do anything for you, and stuff. And then sentence 2.
Before you go on, I think that
stop and say brava.
What'd you say, Bruce?
Can we stop and say brava?
Yes, very good.
Thank you.
The very end, that welcome, it's sort of, even if at the, maybe you said this, even, in other, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for you because of my love for you, even at the risk of my own kind of reputation, even if I harm my own embarrassment. That well is welcome is a kind of tricky little phrase, right? Sometimes it just means or, but sometimes it's like what would you say? Correcting yourself, right? Does that?
What should I say?
Keep going. Great.
Okay, so second sentence. Verum tamen ea tibi fiducia libellum edidi, qua nulli a te prodendum reor, quia id spopondisti, sed vere or ne tu ei iannuos sis futurus, et emissus sema revocare non queat. But, there's always a but, or however, I have divulged, Edidi, this little book to you with this trust, Eatibi Fiducia, in that, I think that it must be handed over to no one by you. Quia, because you promised it, because you have promised it. But I fear lest you might be the gate or the portal, I guess, the anua, for it. And emistus having once been sent forth, rero kari non quiat, it is not able to be recalled.
Good.
Now that makes me feel bad.
Why?
Because he doesn't want people to read it, and here we are.
Here we are, right?
I
I
think
forgot to add, and one day I know they'll be sitting around the computer.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
think we can take that. I don't think we can take accusatio entirely seriously.
No.
Mentioned.
Yeah.
It's the false modesty topos. This continues for
The modesty
another
topos.
Actually, are we recording this?
Yep.
Are you sure? Because no one appears able to watch it. I mean, yes, it does say recording,
Let's say recording.
but is it broadcasting?
It's not
is there any way?
broadcasting. It's just recording.
Is there any way for it to broadcast? Because people want to watch it.
They should be watching directly. That's the whole point of this.
Yes, but they keep saying that they can't be viewers, they can only be participants. So I was wondering if there's any way to fix that, because there are quite a number of people on Google Plus complaining that they can't.
Well, I don't know what to do about that.
That's what I told them. We don't know what to do.
We live stream it through YouTube, like the Google Plus thing.
It doesn't live stream automatically, so I will post it on YouTube after it's done. But that's the difference. The idea is that unlike with YouTube where you have that time lag, what you have with Google Plus that we had to deal with last summer and the summer before that, the idea is that they're supposed to be able to watch now. Everybody who wants to, up to at the moment 100 people. I've got permission for 100 people to watch at the same time, and I can expand that if I have to. But at the moment, we've just got our 9 participants, and so I don't know.
Maybe we have to make them participants but hide them?
They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be with this webinar thing. They're supposed to, you all are panelists. We're all panelists. And they're supposed to be some other category of person that's the webinar-ees.
Do you know the name for them? Because I'm looking through the
Viewers?
the help for it.
I think it's viewers.
Viewers, perhaps, yes. So I just don't know. I don't see anything here to allow me to do anything. I think they're supposed to have gotten the email. You know, they've got the thing I posted is supposed to allow them somehow to get to watch.
Couldn't we just trust them to watch and admit them as participants? I mean, or is there a limit on the number of people?
We could certainly do that. I just don't know how to.
It would clutter up the screen.
It would certainly clutter up
You
the
can
screen.
hide them though, or they can hide themselves.
That's true, but it might also clutter up the bandwidth.
It means I have to invite them all, is when I don't know who they are.
That's bizarre.
The other question, the immediate question is I've tried to invite Paula and haven't. Do you know? Does anyone know? Has anyone heard from her?
Yes, she's been saying, which are you trying now, Zoom or Google Hangouts? And I told her Zoom.
Okay. Did she get the invitation? I'll try again with the invitation. Just draw breath. Now, where did I write down her? Oh God.
It was in Google
Oh,
Plus.
here it is. It's in. All right. So Paula, I'm trying to invite you. inmouth@gmail.com. Please join meeting in progress. That's the best I can do.
You got innsmouthfp@gmail.com.
No, I think it was.
It's FP.
P. Innsmouth FP at gmail.com. Really, in the online University of the Future, other people will be doing this other than us.
Yes.
It always takes a while to work the kinks out anyway, so yeah.
Yes. But there should be some kind of like an internet janitor or caretaker that looks after all these meeting rooms.
Well, you know, my idea from last summer was the NSA should do it. You know,
That would be helpful. They could at least
You probably are, we just don't know it.
They're listening. Hi, guys.
well, I know we know they're listening anyway, so I just think they could facilitate these conversations.
I think they're only meta listening.
Sorry?
I think they're only meta listening to the metadata.
Yeah.
There's that.
I think maybe Paula's coming.
Yes, she said, hang on, I've got something.
No, this is someone totally different.
Louise L. There's Paula.
There's Paula.
Paula.
There's Paula.
Paula.
Hi, Louise. We don't know who you are.
I'm Christina. I'm new to this. I
okay.
watched last year. Sorry.
All right. Hi.
I have to go let my dogs in. Hang on a second.
All right. And
Did you sign up for a slot, Christina? Or are you?
No, I'll just be quiet and listen.
Okay. Welcome.
Do we want, if people have questions, do we want to just give them my email address, and if they send me brief messages, I can send brief messages back?
you could try that. They're supposed to be able to chat on the chat.
Yeah, there's a chat thing right here.
Yeah, there's a chat thing.
Right, but no one's chatting.
Well, you know,
Q&A.
William, when you had it open at the beginning and none of us could appear, there was the question and answer button and the chat button. And I think that's what they're supposed to be seeing.
Look in the bottom of your screen. There's a chat box.
Right, but there,
Yeah.
there isn't a question and answer button anymore.
But the only names on the chat list are those of us who are on the
Participating.
You know what
Yeah.
I think?
The
I think,
viewers?
I think this meeting is a meeting rather than a webinar, and that's why the.
It did say, it said you're invited to a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom webinar.
Well, I don't know what to do about that.
If we stop and start another one, we'll never get done.
I know. I'm afraid that's right.
Perhaps we should consider tonight a tech trial session and bonus translation.
Well, we can see how far we can get. Paul's gone away again, but not, this time not virtually.
Yeah,
She's
she
really gone away.
walked off.
Okay.
Sorry, I
All
had
right.
to let the
No
dogs
problem.
in.
Okay.
They were barking.
Paula, we're ready for you to translate. We've got up to where to your moment.
Oh dear, already?
I
Okay.
know. I think you have actually the hard and even harder sentences than Mona.
Yeah, I have to say this one was pretty ugly.
Those are the two worst.
And so if it makes absolutely no sense, sorry. Okay, I'm going to read it. We're reading it first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Quod si accideret. You want me to read the whole thing?
I would read it in chunks that you're comfortable with.
How about I do it by number?
Okay.
Okay. Do you guys hear me okay, or does it
Yeah.
sound like I'm shouting? Or
No, it's good.
You're fine.
okay.
Good.
Okay. Quod si accideret et ab aliquibus eam legi videris bona venia id a lectoribus postulabis ut res potius quam verba perpendant et aequo animo ferant. Si ores eorum vitiosus forsitan sermo percularet, quia regnum Dei non in eloquentia, sed in fide constat. I think I got all the accents correctly. All right.
Mhm.
What?
Go for it.
Okay. I don't know if this even makes any sense. As if he had come upon him, and from some things you had seen to be read, that by a good favor by readers' questions, in order that the preferable thing that the words weigh and in equal spirit carry, so the ears of those by the sermon he perhaps had upset, because not in eloquence but in faith does he stand firm in the kingdom of God. Is that complete word salad?
I think we need to take it slow,
Yeah.
right?
There are a lot of adjectives.
So I think one of the main tricks is that videris isn't second person singular passive, right? You might think that it was, but it isn't, right? It's either perfect subjunctive or future perfect active of video.
It didn't make any sense,
Right.
but I wasn't really sure what was going on with it.
So if this happened, namely that and that you see it get read by some people. In other words, if the book does go out there and you see that people are reading it, then you will ask, and then Chris Francesi gives a nice note on this, you will ask bona venia with good, really you're asking for good pardon, but it's ablative. You're asking with good pardon this thing from the readers.
Okay.
Right, and then I think after that I think you're okay. That that they weigh the matter rather than the words. Right. In other words, they look at the content rather than the form.
Right.
And bear with equal mind. In other words, don't get freaked out. If, and I'm just going over this, I think you were totally right. If perchance a flawed speech should strike their ears, so they shouldn't get freaked out if they see something they don't like, because constat, right? It's that regnum Dei, that the kingdom of God stands not in eloquence but in faith.
Right.
So
consists of.
So as we've said, this is the oh shucks topos, right? You know, I'm just a poor, humble, I can barely speak. In fact, of course, he's by far, I think, Bruce, I don't know if you would agree with this, he's even more literary than Jerome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
He's a good classically educated Latinist, and he's showing us all of that stuff. And part of, I guess, paradoxically, the classical educated Latinist trick is to say, oh, I barely can speak, right? It's kind of nice that they have that modesty trope, right? Compared to all the other awful things that they had. Modesty is at least nice that they had that.
We'll call it the false modesty trope.
Right, the false modesty trope.
I kept thinking that it kind of reminded me, well, maybe not so much as Cicero, but it kind of reminded me that it's too much.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's showing off. And I was kind of like, you could say a lot of this stuff so much simpler.
Sure.
So much more simply. Yeah.
But Paula, then people might believe him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Jen,
And it seems
sorry?
It seems to tie into 6 as well. It seems to return to that theme in 6.
Yes. On a very technical note, Jen, do you have Acceterit and videris, do we think that they're perfect subjunctive, or do we think they're future perfect?
I think they're future perfect.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
So do I.
It's a future, more vivid clause
Right.
because it's perfect. It's future perfect, active, indicative,
And then it's got a
clause,
future.
and then future in the other clause for that.
All right, great.
So the mid-clause were right on that part.
People should feel, certainly when we get to the end of a translation, if people have comments, questions, let us know. And you speak now. Paula, you want to go on?
Yeah, I'm going to continue butchering. Meminerent etiam salutem saeculo non ab oratoribus cum utique si utile fuesset. Is it utila?
You were right. It was
is it utila or utila?
utile.
Utile. Okay. Fuisset id quoque Dominus praestare, potuisset sed a piscatoribus praedicatam esse.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, Lordy. Even now have they remembered a vigor from the age, not from the speakers. With assuredly, if it were beneficial that the Lord could also excel, but by fishermen he was exalted.
We need to back that down too.
Yeah.
So you should be aware. So you know, Chris Francesi online has these great notes that will help. So meminirent is it's a plain old sort of use of subjunctive, because remember that memini, which is perfect in form, really means I have remembered, but it means I now remember.
Yeah.
So meminirent just means let them remember also.
Okay.
And then salutem, of course, in a Christian context, has totally loaded content, right? That's salvation, really.
Oh, yeah.
That salvation, and then ultimately praedicatam esse has been preached. Salvation for the age has been preached not by orators, even though utique, to be sure, if it had been useful, the Lord would have been able to offer that too, right? All of that in parentheses. Salvation has been offered for our age, not by orators, but by fishermen, right? By fishers, right? This is the classic
the apostles,
of men thing, the apostles. So it's kind of, it is very, actually just doing it out loud makes me more aware of how pointed it is, right? That he's being incredibly elaborately rhetorical, that tucked in little gloss. Lord could have done it if he'd wanted to, but then he ends up with, but I just want the simplicity of the apostles, right? Having no rhetoric for me.
But look at the alliteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all that, yeah. Is it possible that he's doing all this to emphasize that his background is different from Martin's, or is it because he's uncomfortable with Martin's more rustic origins and is trying to sort of not gloss over that, but sort of exalt Martin a bit more for his readers?
Sort of gentrify the whole thing?
Yeah.
I think he's trying to turn the world on his head. On the one hand, he's saying, I have the credentials clearly, as my speech shows, but I'm going to say I don't, because he's going to make the point that his Christian perspective is
what matters.
Very different values, turns the world on its head from what the classical this kind of literature would have been.
Right.
No, I think you've got a good point there. There's actually a passage somewhere in one of Paul's letters in the Bible, I forget where, but something like where he lists out all his, claims to fame, and then he says, but I don't boast in these, I boast in the gospel.
Exactly. I boast of something completely different.
Right.
And this will continue in the rest of this piece.
Right.
And actually that's a little more straightforward and I would say honest than what Severus is doing here, because Severus is, not explicitly saying I was classically trained, but I'm not boasting about it. He's saying, oh, I'm not really even eloquent at all while being eloquent. But it's kind of the same idea, I think.
Yeah.
Doesn't Augustine do it a bit later too?
Yeah, same thing.
He always has this sort of tension between he's extremely proud of his classical training, and at the same time, but I'm not supposed to be proud of it because
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
Augustine's more prepared to be proud of it than Jerome. Jerome is the one who really struggles with it. Whether he's a Ciceronian or a Christian.
Right.
That's it. Augustine will say that you can find all good rhetoric in the Bible, as well as the Sermo Humilis, so that it's all there. Jerome is more worried, right.
Bother him in the night.
But this is fantastic cursus. I mean, the opposition of non aboratoribus sed apiscatoribus. I mean, it's just beautifully
Beautiful.
constructed as a sentence, and that whole parenthesis has to be there to give him the chance to get to the fisherman at the right time. So yeah, he's playing definitely with classical erudition.
Yeah.
And I think he's playing also with the idea of the life of the illustrious man, the kind of Plutarch model of
The genre.
the genre. Exactly. These people are worth remembering. Why are they worth remembering? Usually because they were politicians, generals, philosophers, people who were well educated and excelled in certain secular arts, and he has to stick to that genre and then say, but at the same time, none of those arts applies here.
Well, and also he will come to say they're held up as models to imitate, but of course his guy Martin is going to be imitated in a whole different way and for other reasons.
Exactly.
That's still coming.
Yes, he does cover that much more deeply in a section or two.
I have a quick question. Then please feel free to tell me that this is common knowledge and I'm treading where I shouldn't. Was this kind of thing primarily read privately to oneself, non-aloud? Or like, would this be oftentimes recited or spoken in public? Because he makes mention of things striking their ears, and then he has this very kind of orally with an AU, like orally pleasing, alliterative features in the text. Can someone speak a little bit more about that? Or does that matter at all?
Doesn't it kind of depend on the author?
One thing we want to keep in mind is that, I mean, there is some disagreement about it, but in general, even if people were reading alone, they weren't necessarily reading silently.
Yeah.
There's a famous passage about, several famous passages about that, but there's one about Augustine reading silently. And there's a whole bunch of other evidence that people probably didn't read silently in antiquity, they read out loud. So there's a lot of oral effects in there, whether it was communal or individual, but it was, if people were around, you read to them.
And you had to sound it out anyway because there were no breaks between the words. It was very difficult to actually see the
yes. You have to be very, very tuned in to be able to. Sorry, yes.
You have these lovely commas to tell you where to break your clauses. But
you'd have to hear it.
Thank you guys very much. Sorry to interrupt the transition.
Well, a lot of these things are intentionally, I mean, you know, when Cicero, and not when he's doing his letters so much, but when he's writing his speeches, those are obviously intended to be delivered in public. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these later works by Christian authors are intended to be some kind of sermon, or at least in the model of a sermon. Mm-hmm. That's why there's so much prolixity and repetition, because then people can remember the theme more easily, especially if it's going on for 3 hours. So.
Yeah.
And a saint's life would have a very broad popular audience, wouldn't it? I mean, it's not exactly an obscure topic.
Right.
Especially a saint like Martin.
It's kind of thing that captures the imagination of the like kind of common believers and kind of gets them excited about it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, I don't think you should think of this as being a sermon, but it would be material for a sermon is the point. So you would take from it. These would be exemplary stories that if you were to preach, you would take from. You would draw on the life of Martin as one of the most famous saints. That's kind of how. I mean, I think this is a text intended to be read. And the whole aloud thing is like in flux at this very, you're right, like Augustine, I think, says he learned to read silently from Ambrose is like one of the things that he learned from him. So it's kind of, it's a new idea.
But I think my own assumption throughout.
Have I lost it? Has my internet connection gone down?
Your voice is fine, your video's frozen somehow.
There it is, it's back.
Okay. Maybe I need to be somewhere else in my house. That's the trouble. I think I'm too far from the router for this level of.
Yeah. In general, I think until the 20th century, almost everything. Dickens was. People could read Dickens by themselves perfectly happily, but I think surely Dickens wrote with the expectation that people would be gathering around after dinner and someone would be reading it aloud. I think there's just an orality in all of Western literature until the 20th century, I think.
Well, and you're also talking about this is before printing,
Mhm.
and it's also definitely before universal literacy. Very, very few people can read in the first place.
Right.
These kinds of books are very rare and difficult to get hold of because they're being transcribed by hand. And also, this kind of Latin is probably pretty far above your average man on the street,
Right.
let alone woman.
And also, even the scribe who was copying it would likely be taking dictation, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and think about how many times this has been recopied before we got the first copy.
Right.
Yeah, who knows what kind of errors are in there, how they've been fixed or lost or whatever.
All right, should we go forward, Paula?
Oh yeah. Okay, so we're on 5, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so ego enim cum primum animum ad scribendum apuli quia nefas putarem tanti viri latera virtutes apud me ipsa decidi. Is it decidi or decidi?
Decidi.
Decidi?
Mhm.
Okay. Ut solo exismis non erubescerum. Quia nec magnam istarum quam rerum scientiam contigesum et si quid ex his studiis olim fortasse libasem totum id desuetudine tanti temporis perdidissem. Or perdidissem?
Mhm.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Let's see. Oh, whoops. Okay. Put that in real quick so I don't stop at the right part. Okay. I also, when I moved toward the first impulse for writing,
Mhm.
because the sin clearly hid the virtues of such a man, I decided that I would not blush at such grammatical errors because he did not ever understand the great science of these matters, and so that from his studies, I was once pleased perhaps with everything that from such disuse of time I would have learned by heart. I think I really lost on that last part.
Okay. Let's go back over slowly.
Yep.
Partly you translate very fast. As I have it with this stuff, I have trouble keeping up. But so you're totally right for the first part. For when first I put my mind to writing,
Yeah.
because I thought that it would be bad, it would be terrible, it would be a crime for the virtues of such a man to be hidden.
Okay.
It would possibly even be wicked in the Christian sense
Right.
A sin.
for the virtues of this man to be hidden.
So I decided myself amongst myself, right?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Made up my mind.
It's just I decided.
I made up my mind
I know. Yep.
not to blush at my solecisms, right? Soloikismis. Right?
Yeah.
Not a word I'd ever seen in Latin before, but it's nice that it's there.
It kind of is one,
translated
isn't
as
it?
grammatical errors in Lewis and Short. And they also said solecism, and I thought, well, that's cheating.
Right.
There's a grammatical treatise from around about the 6th century, I think, that starts Solecismus et barbarismus. It's known. It's anonymous, so it's known as Solecismus et barbarismus.
Wow.
Because that's its incipit.
Cool. I'll look that one up.
Oh, yeah,
So I think what comes next is the hard is where we need to go more slowly, because neither had I ever touched a huge knowledge of these things ever, right? Totally constructed word order. It's very unnatural word order. And if by chance I ever had tasted, like libo libare, if I'd ever tasted anything out of these studies,
Mhm.
I would have lost it all from the, what, I can't think of any,
Dishabituation. Yeah.
the lack of practice from such a time, or it took so long that I'm all out of practice.
Yeah.
So he's got it's a double aw shucks, right? I was never very educated in the first place, and even if I had learned anything, it's been a long time ago, so you just cut me some slack, right?
Don't rely on my high school Latin. It's been forever.
We all do it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I've talked to some of the greatest scholars in the world on some subjects, and they would say things like, "Oh, it's not my field." The English are particularly, prone to do this. Just written a 500-page book. Oh, I don't know anything about that. It's. I guess it's endearing.
They come by it honestly because their colleagues will bite them every time they make the slightest little mistake.
Right. No, I assume it's a standard academic defense mecanism, right?
Yeah.
This isn't my field. I'm really a specialist in later 7th century, not the early 7th century. That's you can't ask me for that. Keep going, Paula.
Okay. Sed tamen ne nos maneat, tam molesta defensio, suppresso si tibi videtur, nomine libellus e datur. Quod ut fieri valeat titulum frontis errade, ut muta sit pagina, et quod sufficit, okay. Loquatur materiam non loquatur actorum. Okay. All right. But nevertheless, nor does it remain to us such a defense from trouble, subdued, held back, I don't know, if I am seen by you, this book is edited by name.
Let it be. All right. This is really,
Let it be.
this is really
Okay,
hard. It's going to be hard to come up with good English for this.
Let this be seen by you?
Well, so si tibi videtur is kind of parenthetical, just means if you think it's a good idea, right? If it seems to you, right? And that's actually a good classical idiom,
Yeah.
right? So the final, where he's going to end up with is, let this book be given forth, be published. Let the libellus e datur.
Yeah.
Suppresso nomine, with my name suppressed, if you think that's a good idea.
Okay.
So
Good old ablative absolute.
that's where the sentence is going to end up. I find the first part of it, how you get there, kind of weird. But nevertheless, lest such a disgusting defense await us.
Oh,
In other words, I don't want to have to use that stupid
As an excuse.
argument that I'm a totally uneducated person.
Right.
And so let's not do that. So maybe here's a plan. Why don't you publish the book anonymously without my name on it?
Right. Yeah.
Does anyone have a
Stop
better
using
translation of the first part of that sentence?
that's such an annoying defense. It be all that's left for us. Lest we have to fall back on such a
That's a good one to fall back
Good.
on.
such a stupid excuse.
Yeah, the maneat's the weird one.
Maniacnos,
A
let
way-
us not remain for us, be
Right.
left over for us.
Or we might, to stick a little closer to the Latin, we might say, lest we should be stuck with such an annoying
Yeah, there you go.
Right. That's very good. Both of those are very good.
that academic defense mechanism. That,
Right.
That's what we were talking about.
Right.
yes.
It's annoying.
Right. But somehow academics haven't resorted to the anonymous publication. I wonder why.
No, supplicios. That's what he said.
Of course, Severus didn't end up being published anonymously either.
No, that's
Yeah, right.
Never
no,
wanted
he's-
to be.
Yes, yeah. And this is I don't know if any of you has ever read Petrarch's Secretum, but he goes absolutely crazy with this topos at the beginning of it as well. Like, nobody shall read this book. It is only for my eyes. He's not even sending it to somebody else.
Who is this?
So the Secretum, Petrarch's secret book. It starts with a passage very, very similar to this, except that he's not addressing it to anybody else. He's addressing it to himself and saying, if you're reading this and you're not me, then you shouldn't be reading this book. It's totally not supposed to be out there at all.
Wow.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, it's a wonderful technique. Now, it would help a great deal if you'd only give half your attention to what I'm about to say.
So, yeah.
All right.
Or none. Yeah, like if you.
Okay. In order for it to be born,
or to happen, right? In other words, that this can happen, namely that you can publish the book anonymously.
Okay. So erase the front title.
Yeah. Right. Yep. The title of the front. Right of the front.
So that the page be mute. And if should this suffice, let the material speak, not the author.
That is what it means, but it's let the page speak the material, not the author, right? Loquor is deponent. I actually don't remember it ever seeing it with an accusative like this, but
yeah, it's kind of a weird one.
It is weird, but that's what let it speak the matter, not the author.
Yeah.
But that's just plain indicative, right? Which is enough.
No, it's subjunctive.
It's subjunctive.
Let it.
Loquator, and yeah.
Let it.
No, the sufficit.
Yes, sufficit is.
Yeah, which is enough.
Sufficit is just parenthetical, means what.
Which is sufficient.
Which is, so that the page is mute and the material speak, and that it speaks the material, not that it talks about the matter, not the author.
So he's kind of switching metaphors.
Which is enough, quod sufficit, which is enough, just indicative. Right. Is that right?
He's kind of switching metaphors from the page being silent to the page speaking the material instead of the author. So he's kind of switching speech metaphors in the middle of the sentence, which is confusing. But that seems to be what he's doing.
It's funny, yeah.
That does seem to be what he's doing.
So that the page be mute and speak the material.
Right. Good.
Versatile page.
William, I was just looking up. There are a bunch of passages where Loquor takes an accusative. There's a bunch of citations from movies. And talk about.
All right, thanks. I don't think I'd ever seen it except introducing statements.
Busy.
Okay. All right, great, guys. Shall we push on?
Jen, where'd you get that?
I'm game.
Oxford Latin?
No, I'm looking in the Lewis and Short online. My OLD is over on the bookshelf.
Okay.
So I looked on Perseus really fast. It's under 1 gamma. Their indentation is always all wrong. The citations, let's see, where is it? It's in the middle of B, the capital letter B, 1.
Okay, I believe you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have great faith. All right, Jamie, you want to take it away?
All right, yes. Clarique
in the sense of talk about, certainly. Yeah.
Okay. Y'all can hear me, right? All right. Clarique mortalis studio et gloriae saeculari inaniter dediti exinde perennem ut putabant memoriam nominis sui quae sierunt, si vitas clarorum virorum stilo illustrasent. Okay, many mortals given over to the desire and glory of the world, or to worldly desire and glory, given over in vain, inaniter, pointlessly, to worldly desire and glory. Thence, and we're about to come to whence, thence seek, quaesierunt, eternal, as they think, memory or remembrance for their names. See if, with the pen, they have adorned the lives of famous men.
There we go.
Good. One detail, it's not, but it's sort of theoretically important. It's not many men, it's most men. Right?
Yes, most, you're right.
Most people do this, that they are.
I think the studio et gloriae seculari is a hendiadys. I think that's saying desire for worldly glory, but it's saying it in a very classical way by making the two things parallel.
That does make sense.
Also, I don't know if this is you're going to find this as early as the end of the 4th century, but certainly later on you'll see Plerus and multus interchangeable essentially.
Yeah.
So it might in fact be, it could be that it means many rather than most here.
Because if you think about it, most people don't write biographies at all, whether they think it's going to make them famous or not.
Right.
This is picking up on, I mean, as commentators point this out, on Sallust, who talks about what most men do, I think.
Yeah.
So, and to me, that seems very classical. But anyway, sure, either way.
All right.
Keep going, Jim.
Well, let's push on with number 2. Quae res utique non perennem quidem, sed aliquantulum tamen conceptae spe fructum afferebat, quia et suam memoriam licet in casum propagabant, et propositis magnorum virorum exemplis non parva aemulatio legentibus excitabatur. And I'm going to stop there at the grammatical sentence boundary. Stop there to go back and translate.
Sure.
Which thing, or which attempt, we might almost say, in any case, certainly not something eternal, or which in any case was bringing afferebat, not something eternal, but nevertheless, a little bit, a little tiny bit of fruit of the conceived, or a little tiny fruit of the conceived hope, or of the hope that they had conceived.
Yes.
Because on the one hand, they were propagating or were passing down their memories, though to no purpose.
Right.
And because no small emulation, no small desire of imitating the proposed examples, the examples set forth of famous men, was aroused in the readers. Said Tamen.
Hold it. That was perfect, except I think don't you think the small emulation was excited in the readers by the proposed
by the examples,
famous men.
By the set forth examples.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think.
Or it's just a plain old advent of absolute. Yeah. Or once these examples have been set forth for the readers.
Yes.
Yes, I think English was messing me up there. I wanted an object for emulation. I wanted them to be emulating something, but I guess that's implied.
Right. Good.
Emulating. Said Tamen, nicil ad beatam illam aetenamque vitam, haec eorum cura pertinuit. But nevertheless, this study of theirs, this worry of theirs, had nothing to do with with that blessed and eternal life.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Quid enim aut ipsis occasura cum saeculo scriptorum suorum gloria profuit, or profuit. So but, I never am quite sure how to put those multiple conjunctions into English. We could almost say
about the quid enim or quid enim out?
the enim out. I'm fine with quid, but it doesn't sound right to say so but or but so.
Well, so the
It's
enim,
out. The out is in the third
Right.
line down, the second one.
Yes, no, I get the Latin. I'm worrying about how to make it sound right in English, because in English we don't normally say but so.
Just make it sound bad in Latin and we'll work around it.
It's either or.
Mhm.
Well, yes, but either, or yes, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
You can always do enim indeed if you really can't fit it in another way.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
not the best modern English, but
Okay.
you do it as indeed and you say something like, indeed, what either blah, 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 or...
Right.
Oh, I talk like that all the time, actually. So it may not be the best modern English. But I think we can probably use so here. Sorry, that was a bit of an excursion. So on the one hand, we'll stick with that. So on the one hand, what did the glory of what did the passing glory of these writers profit their own selves, ipsis, with the world, or the passing glory with the world of these writers profit themselves?
It's good, but it's not passing. Notice it's a future participle. Glory that's going to pass.
Mm-hmm. Right, that would be more
destined or doomed to pass.
Writers. In other words, what point is this glory? Because it's mortal. It's going to die.
It's going to pass with the age of the writer.
So what's the point?
Right, okay. Aut quid posteritas emolumenti tulit, legendo Hectorem pugnantem aut Socratem philosophantem. Or what good does posterity get, or did posterity get, by reading of Hector fighting or Socrates philosophizing?
Good.
Cumeos non solum imitari stultitia sit, sed non acerrime etiam impugnare dementia, quipe qui humanam vitam praesentibus tantum actibus aestimantes spes suas fabulis animas sepulchris dederent. That's harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because not only would it be foolishness to imitate them, but not to most bitterly oppose them or attack them would be madness. Since they, by such worldly actions, I see, no. Since they, valuing human life by such worldly actions, gave their hopes to legends and their souls to literally to graves or to the tomb.
Good. The one thing is that I think is important and tricky is that tantum, which can just mean only. So giving their lives only to present action.
I see, yes.
Which I think is, and I always find tantum such a sleeper word. It can mean
such a sleeper word, right?
It's accusative of tantus. Sometimes it isn't. It's just really annoying.
Okay, thanks for the tip.
Great. You know, I like that. Their hopes to fables and their souls to graves. It's
very intense.
Yes. Yeah. No, and this is all presumably in some, certainly more than than in proper Middle Ages. They're still fighting it out with paganism. So it's a real.
He's making a relevant point.
Right. It's a real alternative. Rob, I should say the reason I've got you muted is every time I unmute you, there's background noise, and so I feel bad. I hate to be exclusive. I'll try to.
And I think there's something coming through the wall that may be it.
Yeah. Anyway,
so I was trying to adjust and I couldn't figure out where it's coming from, so that's just fine.
It seems better actually now. So maybe we can. Okay.
All right. Should I pick it up?
Yeah, take it away.
Siquidem ad solam hominum memoriam se perpetuandos crediderunt, cum hominis officium sit perennem potius vitam quam perennem memoriam quaerere, non scribendo aut pugnando vel philosophando, sed pie sancte religioseque vivendo. So seeing that, those people we were talking about before, that they have entrusted crediderunt se themselves to be perpetuated, to be immortal, their afterlife they've entrusted ad solam hominum memoriam, to the mere memorial of people, memorializing of people.
Or memory.
Memory, yeah. When in fact, this is an adversative cum, when in fact it's the duty of people to seek quaerere potios perennem vitam, rather after eternal life than eternal memory. And to do this, to seek this not by writing or fighting like Hector and Socrates, or philosophizing like Socrates, but vivendo, by living piously, holily, religiously. Any comments on that? Qui quidem error humanus literis traditus in tantum valuit, ut multos plane aemulos, vel inanis philosophiae, vel stultae Elius virtutis invenerit. It's getting really gnarly here. Indeed, this human error, which human error handed down in literature, has been so strong in tantum, has been so great that it invenerit, it has found multos plana aemulus, many people emulating either, and this goes with the genitive, either imitating of empty philosophy or that stupid virtue. Is that okay?
Is it the stupid virtue of empty philosophy?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I think so.
Oh yes, of it.
The Ilias,
yes,
the Philosophia.
Yes, yeah. The stupid virtue of it, yeah.
Which seems to be alluding to the Stoic type of behavior.
Yes. Exactly. Unde facturus mihi operae pretium virior, vitam sanctissimi viri, exemplo aliis mox futuram perscripsero. Therefore, it seems to me about to do something. So in other words, I think I will be embarking on something worthwhile. Pretium operae is an idiom meaning it's worth the trouble. It seems that I will be embarking on something worth the trouble if I shall complete in writing, complete a written account of the life of this most sacred man, to be mox futuram, soon to be an example for others. Yeah?
Yep. Yes, that was your dative of purpose, soon to be as an example of others, or dative.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. Quo utique ad veram sapientiam et caelestem militiam divi namque virtutem legentes incitabuntur. So now he's contrasting what the readers are going to be incited to through this life as opposed to those other ones. But yeah,
I'm not exactly sure how that exemplo aliis works.
for an example,
Dative of purpose.
It's a double dative, the dative of purpose plus a dative of reference with a form of.
yes,
Okay, this is a classical double dative.
yeah, for an example to others.
Thank you.
Although really there, watch out for mocks. To the best of my knowledge, in Silver Latin and later, it usually means afterwards, not soon.
Oh, okay. That's my classical. Yeah, thank you. So afterwards, it will become. It will act as an example to others. Great. By which, at any rate, or indeed, those reading legentes incitabuntur, those reading will be incited to true wisdom and heavenly warfare and divine virtue. In quo ita nostri quoque rationem commodi ducimus, ut non inanem ab hominibus memoriam, sed aeternum a Deo praemium expectemus, quia etsi ipsi non ita viximus, ut exemplo aliis esse possimus, dedimus tamen operam, ne is lateret, qui esset imitandos. In which effort, thus, we have also given regard to the method, the rationale of our advantage, nostri commodi, so that ut non expectemus, so that we may not wait for, hope for, expect an inanem memoriam ab hominibus, an empty memory from mortals, from people, but an eternal reward from God. Since even if we ourselves ipsi non ita viximus have not lived in such a way that ut exemplo possimus aliis, that we may be an example to others, tamen dedimus operam, nevertheless we have made the effort, and there it's picking up the pretium operae, this trouble that it's an effort to write this. Nevertheless, we have given the effort so that, and now you have to reverse it, so that that one does not remain hidden who is worthy of imitation.
Good.
Right.
So, igitur sancti Martini vitam esse possimus. Nope, that's the other line. Igitur sancti Martini vitam scribere exordiar, ut se vel ante episcopatum vel in episcopatu geseret, quam vis nequaquam ad omnia illius patuerum pervenire. So, therefore, let me begin to write the life of Sacred Martin as he conducted himself both before the bishopship and in bishopship.
Would bishopric be the term you're looking for?
That's the office, episcopacy.
Yes.
But I think for idiom we could say before he was bishop as well as when he was bishop.
Okay. In no way was I able to approach all things of him exceedingly. What should I do with the quam vis?
Although
I
couldn't get all the information I wanted. Although in no way could I make it to all of his stuff. It's like he didn't get all the information he wanted.
Yeah.
Or possibly I'm not going to be able to put everything I know into here.
Oh, that might be, right.
That's how I took it.
Mm-hmm.
Adeo ea in quibus ipse tantum sibi conscius fuit nesciuntur, quia laudem ab hominibus non requirens, quantum in ipso fuit omnes virtutes suas latere voluisit. So I come to these things in which only he himself was conscious of.
Mm-hmm.
They are not known because he was not seeking praise from people. It was how much in him in itself. I don't know what to do with that part. That seems awkward.
He wanted all of his virtues to.
Yeah. He wanted to conceal his own virtues, but the quantum in ipso fuit.
However much was in other words, how much?
However much he was able.
As much as he could.
Able.
Right.
Okay.
As much as it was in him, or something like that.
To do. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like idiomatic.
Yeah.
Or,
Roughly.
Yeah.
Insofar as in him it lay, is that
Yes.
older English idiom that corresponds.
Do people think that adeo? I think I like Emma's taking adeo as the verb. I took it as the adverb.
To an extent, to such an extent.
Such an extent
Yeah.
that those things aren't known.
Okay.
Because otherwise you have too many verbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So to such an extent that those things which aren't known, and then everything else follows, I think, after that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did anyone else take it as a verb?
No.
I wasn't
I took it
familiar
as
with
the
it as
adverb.
adverbs. I did.
It totally could be a verb, Emma, right? There's the verb adeo, I approach. It's one of those what's the word, homonyms, right?
Right.
Adeo it's an adverb. It means like so much to such a great extent.
Right.
Often has result clauses after it, although not exactly here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Syntactically, it'd be a bit weird for it to be a verb. Like, adeo is usually like at the beginning of the sentence as an adverb. Like that's just kind of impressionistically.
Right. No, I agree.
Can we go back to the beginning of that sentence just for a sec? Emma, I think you said as for ut.
Yeah. Or how?
It's how. And
Indirect question?
It's an indirect question, and because it's subjunctive, so that's why we want to do how and not as. So I'm going to write his life how he behaved himself.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Thank you.
Quamquam etiam ex his, quae comperta nobis erant plura omissimus, quia sufficere credidimus, si tantum excellentia notarentur. So, although even from these things which are learned by us or for us, by us, we omit more, which, and because we believed it to be sufficient, if only excellence is noted.
Right. Good. So notice it's perfect, though. We have admitted more of them.
Yeah.
Because we thought that it would suffice if the high points were noted only, the excellentia. Good.
I found a couple of problems with the glosses that are given. The stilo was glossed as style, that was actually pen in the beginning. And this is glossed as a feminine, excellentia, excellentia, where here it's actually plural.
The gloss in French.
Where did you see stilo glossed as style? I thought it.
That was in the Dickinson.
Yeah, it was.
In the Dickinson.
There were several things that are actually glossed, and more than that don't work.
Well, think about it. Make a note if you're willing to make a note. I'll make a note now and just if you can collect your comments, I'm sure I'll pass them on to.
Oh, okay, I can do that. Yeah.
But hold on.
There was
In the notes to Dickinson, at least where I have it on my computer right now, stilo is glossed as with a stylus.
Way back at the beginning, that's what
at the beginning.
Oh, in the notes.
Illustrassen.
She's looking
No,
at
not in the
glossary,
notes.
not in the
Not
notes.
in the notes, in the vocabulary.
Oh, yes, you're right. In the
Vocabulary.
vocabulary, it says a style.
Oh, I see.
And then here it's excellentia, just the feminine, where that's not actually what is being used here.
Right.
And there were a few other ones that I can't remember.
That may be his process. You know, not they people generate these vocabulary lists from things like Perseus,
Right.
and they aren't contextualized. So either
Right.
you study, you know, you work really hard to make sure they're right, or you just hope for the best.
Right.
And that may have just slipped through the
I
cracks.
think nobody proofed them. I think they were just electronically.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Perseus, so I'm not
We all
surprised.
do.
I love Perseus so much.
To be fair, there's a lot of macron errors too.
Learning them would have been impossible.
If you look through the text, there are a ton of either missing macrons or macrons where they don't go. So I don't think it's been proofread super.
I thought that too. I was very happy to have the macrons, but I was struck by I'm so insecure with my macrons that I just naturally assumed that I was wrong. And I
There's definitely
I didn't know that was one.
Yeah, I'm so insecure that I thought they were called macrons.
Well. Macron.
I
Sorry?
think it's either.
both ways.
I looked it up and I think
This is America. We call them macrons, don't we?
I was always taught to say macron.
Were you?
I thought it was macro.
All right. America and England and Texas can share.
Yeah, Texas is a different country anyways.
Exactly. All right. Where are we? I've lost the thread.
Simul et legentibus consulendum fuit, ne quod his pareret copia congesta fastidium. So at the same time, it needed to be reflected for the readers.
Mm-hmm.
Lest the collected abundance manifest aversion to these things.
Or just produce, right?
Yeah.
Offer.
Produce some kind of an aversion, some kind of disgust.
annoyance.
I've lost the plot. Could we do the first half of that sentence again?
Yeah, so
You want to take it back? Go
Hold
over.
it from quam.
literally or summarize?
Literally, if you
Okay.
please.
Yeah. So, for although from these things which have been learned by us, we have omitted more because we believe it to be sufficient. If only excellences are noted, and at the same time, it must be reflected on for readers, lest the collected abundance manifests or produce an aversion to these things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can
But-
do plura as rather many. It's a pretty standard thing with comparatives. It's called the absolute comparative, where there isn't actually anything it's being compared to in the sentence. It's just compared to like more than usual or more than you would think. And so then you can say something like rather many or quite a lot.
Right. Good. All right,
Obsec-
one more, Emma.
yeah. Obsecra-
Wait, we're back to the notes. Is excellencia wrong in the notes?
No, the notes, I think it's right.
It's just that
No, it's just vocabulary.
Gives it as a
the
feminine.
vocabulary. I got it. Sorry.
Obsecro autem eos qui lecturi sunt, ut fidem dictis adhiberant, nequam nisi compertum et probatum scripsisse arbitrentur, alioquin tacere quam falsa dicere maluisem. So, however, I beseech those who will be reading,
Mm-hmm.
that they apply faith to the things said.
Good.
And not think that I wrote anything unless learned and proven.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would have preferred to remain silent than say false things.
Good. Well done.
Very good. Yeah,
Nice.
I like that.
All right. Any questions? I'm going to unmute Rob. He's got his porch.
All
I
right.
was curious about the switches between, in the first person, between singular and plural. Is there a particular reason for that, or just? I
They
don't know.
do it so much that you get shell-shocked, I would say.
Okay.
I
I didn't know if there were like particular circumstances where it happened, or just.
I think maybe the Francese's note, or maybe this big elaborate French commentary says that you might think that it's arrogant to talk in the third person all the time, but it's actually sort of polite.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit like the way politicians, it's never I have won the primary. It's always we have won the primary. There's always that sort of awestruck.
Backing. You have backing.
Me and my people.
Me and my imaginary colleague.
It's still perfectly good style in Italian to this day to write noi instead of I.
Mm-hmm.
It never ceases to amaze me.
Uh-huh.
In Greek, it's always just called the plural of modesty. So,
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound terribly modest to me.
No.
Maybe that's just Queen Victoria used it.
Well, there's that. But I can see, how culturally it makes sense. You're kind of distancing yourself from it. You're saying, this isn't me personally. I'm acting as a spokesman for this indefinite
Like teams.
collection. Yes.
Yeah,
I
I'm taking one for the team.
In writing these
Right.
global emails on Google Plus, where I feel really weird, I find myself resorting to we, and there is a certain we-ness to it, but mostly it seems less annoying than saying I have decided this. So
Right.
I think it's actually kind of sort of natural and human. But
Yeah.
And then the other way is also natural in humans, I think, to sort of vaunt about having this backing. And I think you can kind of have both going on at once sometimes.
right. All right, Rob.
All right. Igitur Martinez Sabaria Panoniarum Alpido Oriandus fuit, sed intra Italiam bikini altus est, parentibus secundum seculi dignitatem non infimis gentilibus tamen. Therefore, Martinez Martin was born of the Oppido village of Sabaria, which I take as in the region of Pannonarium.
Of the Pannonias, right there. So there's a bunch of Pannonia which is roughly Hungary and those parts, got divided into lots of different kinds. So there are Pannonias. I think it's actually the capital city. So Oppidum is really a town, not a village, and it's actually a fairly important town, we're told.
Okay, so he was born of this town.
Right.
Within Italy, I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not. The area of Ticini.
This is actually, I think, a locative, right? At Ticinum.
Okay. Altus est. He is a noble.
He was raised.
Oh, raised. Oh, high.
It's
Okay.
from alere, to nourish. So,
All right.
so
Was
he's
brought
born
up.
in Pannonia, but he was raised in Ticinum, which is apparently modern Pavia, which I don't think I'd ever known.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Okay. I just have a
Yeah, I
note
assumed
saying,
it was. Yeah, I assumed it was Canton Ticino in Switzerland. But,
Right, right.
But no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Parentibus secundum securely parents of the second secular dignity or second order or
Well,
Would
second
that be
rank.
secundum according to?
According to the dignity of the age, right?
Okay.
In other words, as far as worldly life goes,
Okay.
parents were non infimes.
All right.
Gentilibus tamen.
And then non infimis, not the they weren't the lowest.
Right.
They weren't the
They were non low.
okay. Gentilibus tamen, of the tribes of the Romans or of the.
Yeah, but this become from the Vulgate on. This is totally standard. This is Gentiles. In other words, they were pagans.
Oh, okay, of the pagan. Okay. However, tamen. However, his father was a soldier at first.
Good.
Was Postribunus was militum fuit, was later a military commander or a tribune, I believe is what they're.
Right.
All right. Ipse arbitum militium in adolescent. Himself an armed soldier in youth.
An armed military service. It's going to be an object of militavit. He himself served an armed soldiery, an armed military service. Oh no, sorry, with Secutus, having followed the armed service in his youth.
Okay. Okay.
And then he militavit inter scholares alas.
And that's amongst the imperial wing of, or the wing of the Imperial Guard.
Right, squadron. Well, just among these are like imperial squadrons.
Okay.
He served under King Constantius.
And then under Julian, the Caesar, Julian.
Right.
Good. This one, I wasn't quite sure how to. Militavit, he soldiered, or he was. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I could come up with.
Served. Just say served.
Served in the military. It was clearly
exactly.
a military application. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not, however, of his own mind or accord,
Mm-hmm.
not as a result of his own doing.
Right.
Because almost the first year. In his first years, almost. In his first years, and this is a difficult one. It seems to be suggesting that there's like a divine voice rather than a pedestrian or the servitude rather than slavery, or rather than I didn't know if it was slavery or some sort of a pedestrian earthly type of a.
I think it's divine slavery, divine service, right?
Okay, divine service. Inspired some sort of muteness or inability to talk.
Just his childhood, his sacra infantia, and I'm actually resorting to Chris's notes here, that his sacred infancy has breathed the divine slavery, right? The divine service. Right?
Okay.
The sacred childhood of the famous boy breathed rather a divine, I can't think of another way of saying it, service to God, right? Was passionate for service to God.
Divine dedication, almost.
Yeah,
Maybe?
yeah.
No, I think it needs to be service.
Service.
Because he's actually going to go and join the
Right.
monastery.
Well, that's true. And of course, it is slavery, right? Literally, slavery to God.
Bondage. You could say bondage almost, like divine, like
that's good.
Like he's binding himself to God.
How about just servitude or something like that?
Servitude.
Right.
That's good.
The thing I find odd about that sentence is that sacra infantia spiravit, that sacred childhood breathing the passion for the love of God or the service of God.
Spiravit expressed, maybe? Spiravit.
Yeah.
Sort of breathed, expressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds to me like fairly standard language of biographical enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Certainly monastic enthusiasm. I can't remember what I've read recently about basically, inhaling and panting after.
Panting after. That's good.
God or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Sort of an extreme absorption or desire to absorb the spirit or something of that nature.
Yeah. Well, remember the spirit is like it's a medical term almost at this point. So it's a breath that goes around the body.
Mm-hmm.
In a physical as well as a metaphysical sense. So it's it can quite literally be the result of his kind of like body of a young child is causing him, his humors, I guess you might say, in like would be another way of looking at it, are making him dedicate himself to God. Is what he's saying. Like he almost it's a deliberately physical metaphor.
Yeah.
It's a bit early, not too early, but it could be a double meaning of his own spirit, but also the Holy Spirit.
It's not too early for that at all. That's fine. Yeah, that's.
Well, I understand that we've already had the council and everything, but these guys are in France, and it is a bit, it's still, that doctrine is still spreading.
I wasn't talking about doctrinally. I'm just talking about it etymologically. Like spiritus is like you would understand that as breath.
I'm thinking Severus might also be meaning that he's breathing the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Perhaps
right.
Both at the same time.
This could be a Holy Spirit without having to have the filioque clause like sorted out and nailed down. I guess. Is what I'm saying.
Because they do it. The filioque exists, but there's still controversy over it at this time.
Let's not even go there.
Actually, filioque is quite a ways in the future. We haven't even gotten Jesus sorted out at this point.
No, we're just bound to make enemies, right?
Yeah, right.
It's also Nicaea, but it's the concept does exist as to whether how universal it is in Christianity at this time.
Keep going, Rob.
Okay. With taking out 3, nam cum esset honorum dicam invitus parentis ad ecclesiam confugit seque catechumem menem fiere postulavit. Let's see. For since it would be 12 years.
He says when he was.
I'm sorry, 10 years.
When he was 10 years old.
Or within.
For when he was 10 years old.
When he was 10 years of age, is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. He himself fled to the church against the will of his parents.
Good.
Relatives, technically, right?
And
well, yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
It can be broader. Parenticus.
Yes. But it's probably his mom and dad here.
Yeah.
Yes, but for literal accuracy. Anyways, carry on.
I don't know if it's right. It's more right to say it could be relative.
Let's see. Catechumen Fieri, he asked to be made a catechumen?
Yeah, he asked that he become, literally, he asked that he become a catechumen. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. All right. And then 4. Mox mirum in modum totus in Dei opere conversus cum esse enorm duodecim eremum concupivit pivit desetecu votis satis siet aetatas infirmitas non obstitessit. Let's see. So let's see. Mox mirum in modum totus. So soon in a sort of an amazing or miraculous way, or
yes, exactly.
Okay. Totus in Dei opere conversus. In a miraculous manner, he's sort of turning entirely to or being dependent upon God, or entirely dependent upon God.
Yep. Well, having totally turned, I guess, into the work of God, right? In the work of God.
Okay.
And Chris has a note on this. Classical Latin would use ad with the accusative with this word. In other words, we would expect conversus ad
opus.
I've lost my place. Ad opus Dei, but instead we get in and the in opera Dei. So having turned to the work of God.
All right. And I guess I'm not sure if that's meaning the scripture, or if this is a looking to creation. I'm not sure what that work was.
I hadn't really thought about that.
Monasticism.
Just
he wanted himself to be made a catechumen.
Well, that would just make him a Christian, right? A catechumen would mean he was going to be taken on. He would eventually be baptized. But I didn't think of it, and I didn't give any thought to what it really meant. It just meant God's service to the work of God. Right? He wanted to devote himself to the work of God.
Of course, Opus Dei is the work of God in the sense of the daily prayer round, weekly prayer round of monks.
Okay.
But I'm not sure at the end of the 4th century if it's got that technical a term yet. I just don't know. It could be, totally turned himself to prayer is one possibility.
Right.
Martin is basically the paradigm figure for Western monasticism. So this is kind of the birth story of it. That's so. Yeah, the Opus Dei. It is constant prayer, but it's kind of.
But good works too, surely.
Good works too, yeah, and you see in that eremum concupivit. So like, well, what's he gonna do? He's gonna go be a hermit. He's gonna go be by himself. He's gonna withdraw, like a good monk.
I think the
At
question
the age of 12.
I think the question is what audience this is starts to get really touchy in this passage, because you have several things here that in Frankish society at this time either Romanized or Germanized, Keltized, whatever, would have some real issues because for one thing, he's rebelling against his family, and which is bad in both Roman and German or Celtic.
I have to point out that this is pre-Frankish.
Okay, pre-Frankish. I'm trying to think. Gaulish, I think would be the way that. Because goes on to do things like get into conflicts with Druids.
Right. I think at the age of 12, he's still in Italy.
I think she's talking about the audience.
Oh, the audience.
Yeah, because Severus is French, and Martin is doing a lot of his work up in France.
Sure.
And also, he's isn't he pretty far north in Italy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Practically the Alps, right? He's in the Alps.
Right.
Yeah. He's in that area. So it's kind of, his parents are pagan, and they're using words like servitutem, which could be taken wrong. I mean, that's not military duty so much as aspiring to be like a slave to God. So it's I think that Severus is sort of trying to carefully introduce some concepts here that his audience might, depending on what his audience is supposed to be, might find a little off-putting.
Yeah. Well,
He's walking on eggshells slightly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty standard thing for the Christians, the committed Christians, to annoy their parents by being.
Yes.
I mean, Perpetua annoys her father by being a martyr, etc.
Like Jesus with his family in the Gospels. Who are my father and mother? They're right here. Who's my family? My family's right here. When his family comes to take him home because everybody's saying he's crazy.
Right. They never actually told him not to do it, did they? I can't
remember. And notice how the language gets a lot simpler in this passage than before. He's not playing around anymore. He wants everybody really clear on what he's saying.
Right. Well, once he gets onto the story, things get simpler.
Yeah.
Poor Rob, you haven't even finished your sentence yet.
Sorry.
Keep going.
That's all right. All right. Cum esset norum duodecim. While it would be 12 years.
When he was 12 years old.
Yeah, when he was 20. When he was 12.
Yeah. 12, he's going out into the wilderness. He would wants to go out into the wilderness or be ascetic, I assume.
Yep.
He would he would make enough vows.
He would have done enough
or make sufficient vows.
He would have satisfied his desires, says Chris Francesi, which I think is helpful, right? It's pluperfect subjunctive. So he would have done it. He would have done what he wanted for his vows if the infirmitas
if he hadn't been 12, roughly.
A weakness of his age?
The weakness of his age had not obstaticit.
Okay.
Had not.
He would have done better, but for the fact that he was of a young age.
He's only 12, right?
Something like that.
It stood in the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then animus tamen circa. However, the spirit around the monastery or the church.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the spirit around these areas always. He was always eager to think about these things, or.
I think his spirit was always around the monasteries, around the church, always he was planning
Okay.
still in the age of his youthful age.
Are you talking to some people?
What afterwards?
Okay. Okay. So these things occurred to him in the course of this time when he was having these aesthetic thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Because after his 12th year, or he filled all the vows.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out
devoted that we're all satisfied.
The quod is which, not because.
Right.
Yeah. Which.
So what he was thinking of as a child, he afterwards fulfilled when he was fully committed.
Committed.
And animus, I think, is better translated as like mind or thinking, reason rather than spirit, because
he's not haunting monasteries.
Right. But anima is more the spirit. Animus is
the mind.
Right.
Is the mind.
So he was thinking about
it makes a lot more sense when you realize that.
Right.
It does. Thanks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he does sound like he's haunting graveyards.
Good. All right. Lawrence.
I think it's me. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Rob, I'm going to mute you again. I'm sorry. If you raise your hand if you want to talk.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
I warn you in advance that I have a 2-year-old in the room with me here who may at any moment decide that he would like to take over translation. Okay, here goes. Sed cum edictum esset a regibus, ut veteranorum filii ad militiam scriberentur, prodente patre qui felicibus eius actibus invidebat, cum esset annorum quindecim, captus et catenatus sacramentis militaribus implicatus est. Uno tantum servo comite contentus, cui tamen versa vice dominus serviebat, ad eo ut plerumque ei, et calciamenta ipse detraheret, et ipse detergeret, hibum una caperent, hic tamen saepius ministraret. And how there cannot be a full stop after implicatus est escapes me. That is a monster sentence.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, let me see. But then, when I prefer then, the emperors issued an edict decreeing that the sons of veterans should or must enlist in the military. I tend to split things up, by the way, so this is now another sentence. His father, wishing to profit from this, since he envied that is Martin's, happy deeds, I would say like contentment or just general happiness. Once Martin turned 15, he was captured and bound in chains, was constrained to take the oaths of military service.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay for implicatus?
Everything's fine. Since you've broken off, prodente patri, I think means his father betraying him.
Yeah, his father bringing him out, saying, "Hey, here's my kid."
Okay, yeah. So it's actually
happy acts.
Yeah. Okay, his father, his treacherous father. Okay,
Right.
Okay.
It's not necessarily treachery. It's not necessarily like telling the cops, hiding in my basement. It's like, do you want my
Presenting
son?
him.
Here's my son. You're supposed to. The law is that you sign him up. I want you to sign him up. It's
Presenting him
right,
to
like
the authorities.
driving him down to the old recruiting office.
To surrender.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Proto is
right. Yeah, so it could be just literally to put him forward.
Yeah.
Putting him forward, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
So back to implicatus est. He was right. He was captured and entwined in the military oaths.
That's right. Yeah, and in the essence, inveigled and entangled in them. Okay. And yeah, now again, I think you're going to have a new sentence here because we've had a verb. I don't see why we couldn't have a new sentence. Anyway, so Martin, I'm going to give us a subject because otherwise we don't have it. Contented himself with just one slave for company, and contrary-wise, conversely, like upside down. I don't know quite how to say that.
Alternately, maybe.
You could even say with their roles having been exchanged.
Yeah, right. No,
Conversely sounded. I had conversely. Yeah.
Yeah, conversely is what I ended up putting, but yeah, like conversely to what you would expect is kind of in brackets. He, the master, would serve the slave. Indeed, he would very often take off his, that is the slave's, shoes and wipe them down. To semicolon. The two would dine together, and more often than not, Martin would wait on the slave rather than the other way around.
Good.
Implied.
The one detail I would add, adeo ut really means or can mean to the extent that.
Yeah.
So it's going one beyond even this exchanging roles with the slave. With the slave, he's going all the way to actually taking off his shoes and washing them.
Yeah, so that was indeed was meant to be. It was meant to imply extra.
Okay.
But yes, what else could I have said?
Going so far as to
the point.
Or even.
Yeah.
Even.
Good.
Yeah, indeed, he would even take off. Yeah. I was kind of running out of adverbs there, though. Okay. Triennium fere ante baptismum in armis fuit. Integer tamen abiis vitis quibus illud hominum genus implicari solet. So, for around 3 years before his baptism, he was under arms. I'm taking Christopher Francese's nice phrase there. But he was free from those vices in which such men are so often entangled. Again, got implicati.
Right. Good.
Coming up there. Yeah, is that okay? Enmeshed, entangled.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, that one wasn't so bad. Multa illius circa commilitiones benignitas, mira caritas, patientia vero atque humilitas ultra humanum modum. So with his comrades, and there's no verb here, so I just put in one like he displayed. Great kindness, remarkable affection, and indeed superhuman patience and humility.
Good.
Nam frugalitate mineo laudari non est necesse, qua ita usus est, ut iam illo tempore non miles, sed monachus putaretur. And it is unnecessary to praise his frugality, since it was so well known that already in that time he was considered not a soldier, but a monk. Pro quibus rebus ita sibi omnes commilitiones de vincerat, ut eum miro affectu venerarentur. So, because of these qualities, these things, this benignitas, etc., he bound his comrades so closely to him that they worshipped him with extraordinary affection. I'm just trying to remember if I turned any passives around there. I think I kept them. No, I think I managed to keep everything in the same agent-patient relationship.
Good.
Nectum Tamen regeneratus in Christo agebat quendam bonis operibus baptismi candidatum assistere scilicet laborantibus opem perre miseris alere egentes vestire nudos nihil sibi ex militiae stipendis preter quotidianum victum reservare. Iam tum evangelii non surdus auditor de Crastino non cogitabat. So, although he was not yet reborn in Christ, he behaved like a candidate for baptism through his good works.
Yeah, that agebat is, I find weird. He did a certain candidacy.
Exactly right. Yeah. So I went with behaved, but
Right.
like he.
Yours is much better.
He waged a candidacy.
Waged candidacy.
Yeah. Right. Otherwise, yeah. Like, I mean,
candidacy, yeah. It's weird.
it sounds like he's driving a chariot of candidates. But yeah.
Acting the part of, or
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That
Could we almost say pursued candidacy? Or
no, because he's not actually a candidate.
Yes, well, but like he's pursuing a course that is like candidacy.
I don't think he was.
So
I
behave.
want to use that. Right. Yes. I'm just trying to get a better.
That implies he was behaving this way in order to for an end, and I think the point is he was just.
Yes. Yes, I was trying to improve the translation of agebat because that's such a slippery
Well,
little
Lawrence's
word.
translation was good. I mean, his first
Yeah,
choice,
I
his first
liked
translation
it.
was good. I was just explaining care that that's not a normal use of ago that I'm aware of.
Right.
No, right. Yeah, no, I scratched my head over it for sure. And I was just like, well, it's kind of, yeah. So, yeah. What did he do? Scilicet. So, viz. Full stop.
Yeah.
He helped those who were troubled or in strife in some way. He gave, I'm going to say alms here is a nice word, I think, to the poor. I'm interpreting miseris as actually, impecunious here. He fed the hungry. And clothed the naked. Plenty of biblical allusion here, of course. He kept none of his soldiers' pay for himself beyond that which was necessary for daily sustenance, which is just completely selling out, if you ask me. I mean, daily sustenance. He should be sitting on a pole by now. Anyway, already an attentive disciple of the gospel. He thought nothing of tomorrow, like the what are they? The swallows of the air,
The birds of the air, the lilies.
the birds of the air, and the lilies of the field.
Right. Yes. They toil not, neither do they spin.
Yeah, he thought nothing.
I'm sure Martin toiled plenty.
Well, since Maristella isn't here, and since it's late, I think, and since we've got the single most important passage in the whole thing coming, I vote we just leave it for next week. See who. I think we should leave it for Maristella. Leave her to sign up. We'll give her a chance to do it next week. We'll take it from there. I'll post a sign-up sheet.
I won't be here for the next 2 weeks, by the way.
Who said that?
Emma.
Oh, hi. Okay, good. Thanks. I couldn't. It's like being in class. You can't hear who's talking. Who's talking. I'll post this thing for everybody to watch, to relive your moments of glory for other people, mostly for other people to watch, of course. And I will try. I've got a whole week with IT to try and figure out why we're not broadcasting to the rest of the world, and I will apologize and all like that there. And maybe if it gets fixed in a week, that'll be a better performance track record than we had with Google Plus, where we took about a month to settle.
Never got fixed at all properly.
Of it. So,
You can always blame the poor quality of our rhetoric for keeping it secret.
I think it's the poor quality. I think there's a serious problem with the rhetoric of computer program explainers. I never understand. They always assume they know what their words mean.
Yes,
including meeting versus webinar, right?
Which is not self-explanatory by any
not at
stretch of
all
the imagination.
self-explanatory. Or community versus circle in Google Plus, I always found completely unintuitive. You could have said it the other way around and it would make just as much sense. Anyway, this is no time to rant about that.
Sure, it's always time to rant about that.
On the contrary, I think this is an excellent time to rant about that.
All right, good. All right.
We're at the
I will
renting
leave.
stage.
Oh, wait, I don't mean to end the meeting. Wait, do I want to end the meeting? What do I want to do? I want to